Warning: this film contains graphic scenes of mutilated dead bodies. Hundreds of animals were harmed during the filming of this production, and the RSPCA were not consulted nor involved in any capacity. The Throttle Up channel accepts no responsibility for any consequences arising from your choice to watch this film. Terms and conditions apply. Consult your doctor before watching.
I thought I might share my experiences with you with these horrible things. These horrible, horrible fly splats. They're the bane of every motorcyclist's life. What I used to do when I got home from a ride would be just to spray some water all over it, and then use a bit of elbow grease to get rid of them. While talking about flies, I think I might also mention, here's my crash hat. And I've just been on a ride. I've just come back from a ride. Oh, there is a little fly splat there. But look at the front of the bike. Look at all these splats. And look at the front of the crash hat. And look at the absence of splats. Now, tell me, people, why are you not riding one of these? Anywho, my choice of bike aside, what I wanted to talk to you about was I switched to trying some of this stuff. The Auto Glim active insect remover, no less. And it does seem to work. It does seem to work reasonably well. I also had to buy, well, I didn't have to, but I did. I bought a whole bunch of these microfiber cloths. The idea is you use one for a bit and then you stick it in the wash. Now the water I was using, this is not Windoline, this is actually just water inside here. Sprays pretty wide like that, so I'd got used to spraying widely all over the bike. So the one difference here is that when I use this, it's foamy. It looks like you need to target it. You need to target it at the flies, and if you don't do that, then you end up covering your bike like this and wondering if you've used far too much. It's okay to spray on the engine and round the front. And actually these little bits of the badges, the front edge here, catches flies sometimes. And obviously the luggage, doesn't seem to be any there, doesn't seem to be any there, doesn't seem to be any there. And since we're talking about targeting stuff, let's squirt that little fly on the helmet. Now it says wait 30 seconds for the stuff to sink in, and then you can just polish it off. And to be fair, it does seem to reduce a significant amount of elbow grease. Now obviously I'm doing this immediately after having come back from a ride. And obviously it's not quite as cheap as just filling a spray bottle with water. But, you know, that's a hell of a... And it does say in the instructions sometimes you might need to go over it again. And also, I'm constantly surprised with this bike how many flies seem to be able to get around the screen and then splatter themselves against the inside. It would be funny if it wasn't me who had to clean them all up. Obviously the headlights are specifically where fly residue shows up quite a bit, much more than darker paintwork. So I found a bit here that I didn't manage to target properly. So I will just wipe the splatter from my helmet. You can see hardly any elbow grease there at all, and that's gone. We have this little bit. There's a bit there. Yeah, like I said, it's difficult to see it against darker paintwork. But yeah, it says, spray it on, wait 30 seconds, and then buff it off. And obviously with a microfiber cloth, you just use it and you throw it in the washing machine. Now, one of the things I have noticed with this is that it does tend to leave smears. It does tend to leave smears on the clear screen and on the headlight. So I tend to finish it up. With a spray of water anyway. And I guess once again, microfiber cloth tends to pick up stuff. As it dries, you can see, there's some on the inside there. Okay. So I think we have some. That's on the inside there. Now obviously I didn't pre-spray this stuff, but nevertheless the product that's still damp on the cloth seems to be good enough. And once again another microfiber cloth damp just with water. Wow, okay, a few little spots and stuff here and there, but for someone who's as allergic to elbow grease as me, that's a hell of a result. I didn't do the engine casings. You might want to double up the cloth a bit while doing this, because obviously the engine casings are still quite warm. There you go. I mean, I use it purely to get rid of the worst of it. I'm not the greatest at washing bikes. I'm not the greatest at doing elbow greasy stuff. But when you can get a result like that with relative ease, why wouldn't you? Thanks for watching.
Once upon a time, there was a total fool who thought he would just make a quick video about how he cleans dead flies off his motorcycle. He set up in his garage and took about 10 minutes to record what he thought was a semi-amusing sequence, and then headed off to his editing cave. But lo, as a private person, imagine his horror when he uploaded the footage and found that he'd left his garage door open and his car's number plate was fully visible on the recording for the whole world to see. After a second or so, the fool recovered and figured he could use his fancy editing software to blur the plate out and save his privacy. 2 weeks later, having completed what turned out to be a Herculean task, the fool recounted his tale to a wise man, who hung his head in despair. You see, the wise man knew that the fool could have solved the problem in half an hour. All he needed to have done was close the garage door and reshoot the entire sequence.